Among Us. Such an interesting concept for a game. A bunch of crew members upon a ship or some other location, doing fun, short and unique little tasks in order to progress the game. But one person could not be trusted. They were the imposter. They would go from room to room, carefully choosing their victims. Then they would kill them and intentionally frame someone or escape the room. If the body was reported, or if somebody called an emergency meeting, they would all come together to vote out who they thought was the imposter. If everybody voted to skip, no one would be eliminated. If they voted somebody out, then that person would be eliminated from the game. It would tell them if the person was an imposter or not. If it was an imposter, then they would either win the game, or be limited to only one more imposter based on the game's settings. The game would continue like this until all the crewmates were dead, all of the tasks were complete, or all of the imposters had been found out. A very interesting and rather unique concept for a game, right? Well, now that I'm thinking about it, it wasn't exactly unique to me, or unique to a bunch of other people. Tell me, my British viewers, anyone who may have grown up in the 2010s, or I guess late 2000s, either one, do any of you remember this old and kind of obscure TV show that used to air, called Trapped? I do. It was a very fun game show, with an interesting concept as well, far different than other game shows that used to air around this time. The concept was pretty simple. There were 6 kids in this game show, all coming from the same area in England, and other parts of the UK too. They would be taken to a place called this tower, by another person known as Wiley Sneak. How they would find the tower and the show in general was to say Wiley's name 3 times in front of a TV, and I guess they would be sucked in. They would then be taken off to the tower and be pulled up by the caretaker inside of like a giant bird cage. The caretaker would then explain some general things about the show, how it worked, what would happen, etc. The main antagonist of this show, and also one of the main characters, is known as the Voice. She is a woman, unseen however. The only part of her that you see is her lips and her mouth, because you only see her speaking, hence her name, the Voice. She is the one who owns the tower and keeps trapping the kids, also known as the Unfortunates, as they are referred to in the show. Each one of them would have a cool little fact or little intro when they were being pulled up to the tower, so that the audience could get a general idea of what they're like.
There's Georgia, who thinks sprouts are overrated. Camille, who used to have a job as a duck. Andrew, he has a seaside villa in Nice. Ellie is choosy about her hairstyles. Jessica is partial to a slice of quiche. And Zach is engaged. Please leave a message. Beep.
The caretaker also would explain how he would see everything that went on in the tower through this giant glass ball that he had in like his little observation deck.
This is my watch tank. This is where I get to see everything that goes on in the tower.
We also learn in some other episodes that he is being held here by the Voice, who refuses to let him leave. The reason why, we don't really know, to be honest. The Voice would often shout within the show to get the attention of everyone.
Let the challenge begin now!
There were 6 floors within the tower, I believe, and each floor would hold a challenge that the Unfortunates would have to compete in. Now these range from simple memory challenges, to try and guess which parts of things are good, which parts are bad, if they're going to trust the word of someone, if they're telling the truth, if they're lying, putting their hands into flower pots trying to pull out some fruit, or trying to get like a green zombified hand or something like that. So you may have been wondering during this video why I brought up Among Us in the first part. Well, it's not just a simple game show, however. This is a game show with a twist. There is one person selected at random at the start of every single floor that could not be trusted, and they were dubbed the saboteur.
Ellie, do not react. You are the saboteur, and you are the only one who can hear my voice. It is your job to make sure your team fail this challenge.
Kind of like the imposter from Among Us. The Voice would then speak to them through the little earpiece they had, which was dubbed the whisper clip. Voice would then explain what they would need to do to try and sabotage the game. For example, if certain parts of games would have blackouts, the voice would tell the saboteur exactly when the blackouts would happen and what to do during them. During the previously mentioned game, Green Fingers, the unfortunates would have to try and put their hands into several flower pots and pull out the signature magic bulbs. If the unfortunates were successful in pulling out 3 magic bulbs, then they would pass, and the saboteur would automatically be locked within the room. However, if the unfortunates put their hands into the flower pots, and they got green fingers reach out of them instead, they would lose a point or something. And if they got green fingers 3 times in a row, or 3 times during the game, then they would lose. So what would happen then if the unfortunates lose the challenge? Well, here's where another part of Among Us comes in, kind of. The kids would all come together, including the saboteur, to vote out who they thought would be the one who was sabotaging the challenge. It would go kind of like this.
You must now vote for who you think the saboteur was and why. Georgia, who do you think the saboteur was?
So yeah, after they give the reasonings, if one person has been voted the most by the majority, then they are automatically locked into the room. Then the voice would go ahead and reveal who the saboteur actually was.
You have voted for Zack. I can now reveal the saboteur was in fact... Ellie.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying?
But you may be asking, Doc, what if they can't come to a decision? What if they all vote 3 on one person, 3 on another? Well, there was a way they would settle this, which was dubbed the draw straws. What they would do is they would get a box containing straws, and whoever pulled the shortest one would automatically lose the draw and would be put into the room to lose the game.
You know what this means? Draw straws!
Whoever draws the short straw will be trapped. Jessica, you have drawn the short straw.
So basically it was kind of a test of luck. But most of the time though, the people did come to a clean, general decision of voting somebody 4 times or something for them to be locked into the room. And they would progress to the next floor. But typically before they went down to the next floor, the caretaker would often pop in every now and again to post in his little comments, like if an unfortunate was doing a good or a bad job, if the saboteur had done well, things like that.
I think the saboteur did well good, but will it be enough?
Once they had completed a floor and were on the next one, a new game would appear. The caretaker would often make little puns or funny remarks about the games they were playing.
Floor 6, Goblet of Ice.
I hope they've wrapped up warm for this one.
You can do this by making sure 2 baskets contain a poison berry at the end of 2 minutes.
Imogen's the bad apple this time. Can she turn the challenge rotten?
And then obviously with a new game would then come a new saboteur. However though, what's interesting is, the same person can be picked as the saboteur. So for example, if somebody was the saboteur on floor 4 for instance, on floor 3 they could easily be the saboteur again if they made it to that floor. Kind of like that. But what makes it interesting is, unlike in Among Us, the saboteur hears all of the discussions that goes on. It can even pitch in and give their own comments to try and, I don't know, frame someone or agree with somebody and try to vote somebody out, things like that. Something I forgot to mention was, before they would go into the actual game, a small VHS little recording, dubbed over by the caretaker, would play, featuring Wiley Sneak enacting the games.
In this challenge, unfortunates must carry snow across the icy stepping stones and fill the goblet of ice. But it's not that easy. The stones are deadly slippery and there's a monstrous gale blowing. It's windier than a plate full of baked beans. What's more, if so much as a toe slips off them stepping stones, the goblet will tip up and empty out all the snow they've collected. So they'll have to start all over again.
They were pretty funny and were pretty memorable, especially for me. I could remember quite a few of them. When they got to floor 2, however, that's when things got interesting. There would be 2 people left on floor 2, obviously. Instead of being a challenge where the saboteur was picked, it was something different. The 2 people left would be asked questions about their time in the tower.
It's the fight for freedom! To win the key of freedom, unfortunates must answer questions on their time in the tower. It's simple. Win and they'll escape. Lose and they'll be trapped. Oh, I'm so excited I could jive with a jub.
Basically, think of things like who was the saboteur in this room, what colour was, I don't know, the magic bulbs in Green Fingers, who did you vote out in a certain room, etc., things like that.
Andrew, which unfortunate was the saboteur on floor 4?
Ellie.
Incorrect, Andrew. Camille, who put the fairy traps into the machine?
Jessica.
Correct. Andrew, on floor 3, how many logs did you need to complete the fire?
9.
Correct.
Whoever got the most questions correct would then go on to win the quote-unquote key of freedom. And this was again teased in the beginning, but I forgot to mention it, but it was kind of irrelevant until now. They would play to get the key of freedom to escape the tower. General gist. So then the winner of the trivia game would take the key of freedom and leave and win the game. And the person who didn't win would be trapped in that room.
Elise and William, your time is up. Elise, you answered 4 questions correctly. William, you answered 1 question correctly. Elise, you are the winner. Congratulations. William, how do you feel about being trapped?
Gutted that I've failed on the last hurdle.
Poor unfortunate William.
You're trapped!
Elise, you have won your freedom. Take the key and leave the tower. Before I change my mind.
See you, losers!
So, Elise has escaped from the tower. The rest of her team are trapped. Ow!
So that's basically kind of the gist of the show. Now, what made it so memorable? Well, the games were fun as hell, to be honest. I was a kid, I was kind of scared of the games, but I would have really loved to try them out when the show was airing. The show stopped airing a while ago. This is a show I used to grow up with. But by far, now that I'm older, my favourite parts of these shows is the voice herself. Hearing her freak out, rage, or get annoyed with the kids when they mess up sabotaging or when they're acting stupid is hilarious. I'll play you a small little clip of it. It's really funny.
Say something!
What about Archibald?
Yes!
People were
He's got
Make them pick it! The bride's coming!
Quick, Theodore Sneeze. Let's try him.
No! This'll be true to them! They're filling the boxes too quickly! Alex, you need to get rid of the eggs! Ah! But remember, Alex, I said don't be too obvious. Alex, that's a dangerous move! Rihanna and Jonah are looking in your direction! You've got to stop them completing boxes. They only need 2 more. You're letting the boxes pass. That's too many eggs! Rihanna's just finished the box already! Don't waste time! Just stop them completing the boxes! Come on, Alex!
4 boxes completed.
Oh, Alex!
5 boxes completed.
The voice's actress is hilarious, and easily is one of the best parts of the show. I enjoy the caretaker as well. I also just love his puns. There are a lot of shows I used to grow up with that used to tell puns, and this was a big one. So you guys may be wondering why I'm such a punny son of a gun. Well, this is why. Also, there was a spin-off of this kind of show called Trapped Ever After. It was basically the same show, except it was styled up a little differently. Wiley Sneak looked absolutely different than he did. The caretaker would now speak more in rhymes than in actual coherent sentences, things like that.
Oh, little Zack, it's all been a fix. Left holding the baby, alone on floor 6. Poor little Martha, as much as she tried, no one believed her. She's trapped on floor 5.
And all of the challenges that the unfortunates would have to go in were re-themed and kind of rehashed into fairy tale things. A play on Little Red Riding Hood.
There once was a wolf hunter called Scarlet. One terrible day, a wolf ate her granny, and she said,
I'm gonna find that wolf and cut off his head. But first I need to get some sleep.
I don't know, Hansel and Gretel, you know, general things like that. And the voice would also do something else different. Instead of saying this,
You're trapped!
she would instead say this to the unfortunates that lost the game.
You're trapped! Ever after!
Kinda funny, kinda forced, a little cheesy, but you know it works for the kids. The rhyming can kind of get annoying in the show, but overall I didn't find it too obnoxious. The show was really obscure though. I swear it really kinda quietly faded off. However, I know there are quite a few people out there who remember it, but I'm asking my general audience now, do you all remember this show Trapped? And I'd recommend you watch an episode if you haven't seen it. Yeah, maybe cringy and whatnot, but hey, it's a good time, you know, I enjoyed it. And this show may have influenced me enjoying horror, because this show was rather scary in terms of kids shows. You'd have zombies and whatnot, loud screaming noises, other things like that. It also taught very good life lessons to kids. How about deceiving your teammates and lying to them was the right decision? The voice would constantly praise you getting into arguments and trying to frame other kids, things like that. The show's backwards morals were very funny. It was revealed also that everybody who participated would get like a Trapped signed t-shirt or something cool like that, but the winner of the show would get like a key, you know, the key of freedom, they would get it personalised with them as well. Overall, nobody was really a loser in the show, but they did get heckled a lot by the voice and other things. So yeah, I would recommend the show Trapped. Even if you're not a particular fan of game shows, I'd recommend you watch at least one of them. So do you remember the show Trapped? If you have any experiences with this show, be sure to comment them down below in the comment section. Also, let me know if you want to see more stars of videos like this, because there are plenty more obscure shows I used to watch as a kid that I wonder if anybody even remembers to this day. I figured I'd start with one that resembled horror the most. If you guys enjoyed this style of video, and you'd like to see me do more, be sure to like, comment and subscribe, hit the bell so you're always up to date with my latest videos, and of course keep an eye out for that Q&A. Remember to go to the video and comment your questions before the Q&A closes. Don't want to miss your chance. Until then, I will see you all in the next video. Take care, my dorks.